types of finance and all its related and relevant items, means of finance and related interest and repayment of different category of borrowings. There are 4 screens related to means of finance. Main basic input of means of finance, already raised, to be raised status of means of finance, phased means of finance over next 5 years, detailed working of item-wise interest and repayment for different type of borrowings. We shall initially get into this first main screen of means of finance. Means of finance is being divided into 3 main portions. First, as different type of borrowings. Second, as equity and capital contribution from promoters, that is shareholding pattern and stake structure status. And third, as miscellaneous and residual item of means of finance. Referring to first part as that of different type of borrowings. There are different borrowing categories as term loan, equated loans, debenture bonds, and unsecured loan and deposits. Firstly, here we are referring to term loan. This selection bar opens to a subscreen wherein you can state all your term loan one after the another as separately for existing and proposed. Very importantly, there are no volume restriction or constraints, and you could specify any number of term loans. Let us add one more term loan with this plus button, say TL4 of 100 lakhs and TL5 of 50 lakhs. And then you could state differing and divergent terms of finance for this each of the term loans separately. For example, say separate term loan for building, machinery, vehicles, etc. with differing terms for each, or say different type of term loan from different banks with differing terms of finance. Then next item is that of equated installment loans, wherein the same way like term loan, you may specify n number of equated loans. Say you may come across an existing balance sheet with 10-15 different type of equated loans from NBFC, or you are intending to avail different equated loans as proposed. The same way it is true for debenture bonds, stating differing conversion clauses, redemption premium, etc. As for unsecured loan and deposits, you may categorize as separately from promoters, friends, relatives, ICD from company 1, company 2, etc. with differing terms for each. Already raised, to be raised status of means of finance. You will find the option there too as 8th menu item under input parameters. If your proposed project is already somewhere during a different project implementation progress stage, then you could get the breakup as means of finance as already raised, means of finance as yet to be raised, and total proposed means of finance. This will show the more clarity on the means of finance. Now we move to the detailing for the related financial terms under cost parameters. By the side panel refers to the various categories of borrowings as interest on repayment for term loans, equated loans, debenture bonds, unsecured loan deposits, lease charges, etc. Now getting over to interest and repayment of various term loans. All your defined term loan will be shown separately as under existing page and proposed page. To state terms, select the term loan from the drop down box. We pick up the newly defined TL4. State the basis of interest calculation as quarterly, half yearly, monthly or yearly. Rate of interest, say 9% as general and 0% as initial under 2-tier interest arrangement. For example, now we being sitting in September, we want general interest to be applied as from year 1 and month 5th with initial interest rate as 0. Thereafter, as for this new TL4, state the repayment in just simpler terms. State repayment years and then repayment basis as quarterly, half-yearly, monthly or yearly. Then state the moratorium period. Say we want 6 months moratorium, then repayment to start from year 1 and month 7. Instead, we need complete 1 year moratorium, then repayment to start from year 2, month 1. It is just very simple, setting the year and month points only. And entire input is related to just only to the very basic raw data only. Say, for any reason for this TL4, giving even repayment does not suit your requirement, then choose for specified repayments where you could give any even, uneven, erratic, bullet repayment the way you want it. Say bullet repayment of 50 lakhs at the end of first year, 30 lakhs at the end of second year, and so completing it. You had a facility of giving any repayment structure as each month wise over a period of 10 years. If you are working for a SEEK or weak unit and your cash flow position does not permit the interest payment on term loan, turning cash flow negative with interest payment, then you could opt for interest funding as up to which year and which month for each of the term loans separately. That is, interest would not get paid up to that specified period, improving upon the cash flow position, and further that you could create a new FITL with different set of terms of finance and repayment. Thus, you could see that how simpler but how precise and exact with lot of flexibility you could state interest and repayment for all and each defined term loan. The complex and tricky issue of equated loans is handled in a much simpler and easier manner for each type of equated loan. As from drop-down box, we select this equated loan. Most of the equated loans are monthly structured, but here it could be even bi-monthly, quarterly, half-yearly or as yearly structured. Furthermore, you could accommodate varying and multiple installment structure. For example, instead of 18,000 for 5 years, it may be as 18,000 for first 3 years and then increasing to 19,000 for next 6 months and then reducing to 17,000 for last 1.5 years. Then you could state starting point, say sitting in September, starting point as 5th month, moratorium period, pre-EMI interest working, etc. As in company case, if so, you may calculate interest and repayment of debenture bonds with differing conversion clauses with differing redemption premium as separately for each series. For each of the series defined here, it permits 2 conversion clauses as in which month and which year it is to be applied for and with what redemption premium. Then state the amount to be converted to share capital and share premium. All necessary effects thereto shall be carried out in cash flow and balance sheet. Here you could state differing terms for each of the unsecured loan defined say as separately from promoters, friends, relatives, ICD from company 1, company 2, etc. Lease rentals. You could detail out here charges for assets under financial lease arrangement. You have different type and any number of assets under financial lease arrangement and it could be defined as separately for each. Specify when lease arrangement is to start from, that is which year and which month, and then for each you may define 3-tier differential lease rentals as per respective differing period for each tier. Coming back again to means of finance. Now we have a look to the equity and capital portion. Here the nomenclature will get varied as per constitution. You could give here the detailing of the shareholding pattern and stake and complete vis-a-vis holding status as among different promoters group or partner vis-a-vis, giving complete clarity on it. It permits for 15 different promoter group or promoter partners. Furthermore, it becomes a part and it is embodied in the means of finance, giving a total view on it. Third part of means of finance as miscellaneous and residual items of means of finance. Importantly, you could find here that there are many other user-defined items are being given for reserves and surpluses as gas subsidy, general reserve, miscellaneous surplus, etc. And as well for 5 types of other non-current liabilities. This facilitates a lot in adapting and adjusting varied and different nature of other item of balance sheet. Finally, it would be found and realized that how and with much precision and exactitude and with no volume restriction or constraints, you could decide in a very flexi way on means of finance. Phased means of finance. If your project is at not one juncture, it is not getting commissioned at one time as once for all, but it is phased out over next few years, and while your production and operational activity gets already comes into play and effect. Under such cases, you continue your projection working with the respective and related production and output activity and with operational P&L account, and that all along with your further commissioning of the project is in progress during these operational years. You could phase out your means of finance over the next 5 years as conveniently for each of the item of means of finance as separately for each year over next 5 years. Importantly, you could even state different disbursal clauses for each of the term loan defined, and that you could further state differing terms of finance not just for each term loan but for each of its disbursal clause as defined here in phased means of finance screen. As said, package could handle very voluminous data as you are free to state any number of term loans, and each term loan would carry 5 disbursal clauses with differing terms of finance for each.